Welcome back. Singapore workers are expected to feel the impact of AI disruption faster than many elsewhere as a national push gets underway to create a wider range of good jobs and help workers stay agile and adaptable amid rapid transformation. CNA's Eugene Chow and Caitlin Ng find out more from committee co-chair David Neo and member Marcus Lam.
David, Marcus, thank you both for joining us. The Economic Strategy Review sets out how Singapore can stay competitive, but for workers, the questions are very immediate. What jobs will be secure, what skills will matter, and how do we make sure people are not left behind? David, what does a good job mean in Singapore in 2026? Is it about wages and stability, or should Singaporeans expect jobs that also offer progression, purpose, and resilience against disruption?
So a good job is not just a job that offers a good paycheck. I think we believe that a good job should be one that offers good dignity, stability, as well as social mobility. And that's why the ESR has also emphasized quite a fair bit on the need to broaden the range of good jobs in the economy. And with the AI disruptions, I think there will be new opportunities that come about in new sectors, new industries. For example, a prompt engineer wasn't something that existed just 2 or 3 years ago, but now it is a thing. And in addition to that, we also want to make sure that all workers are able to basically make use of these opportunities, this advantage, in case to also upskill and make changes. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for our businesses to also seek to make that social impact, right? How can they also provide a quality job, a good job that is not just good in terms of providing, mobility, providing dignity as well as stability, but also provides that meaning and purpose, for all our people to be able to align their personal values to, so that everybody is way more engaged and way more productive at work.
There sounds to be a lot of change and a lot of disruption that could be happening. So, Marcus, maybe I'll ask you this question. What exactly is it that you're hearing from the ground that workers are anxious about? Is it AI disruption? Is it something else?
We are an open economy, highly competitive, highly skilled, highly value-add. What it does is technological advancement has a compounded impact on us as the economy. You will feel the impact faster than anyone else in the world. And that creates anxiousness. I think fresh grad, I would say at the moment, is all looking at, can I find jobs that I love to do and I can see progress, right? The one that is in, I would say, midstream, they are knowledge worker within the organization. I think what they're worried of is that, how am I going to stay relevant? How am I going to be accretive to the organization so that the organization stay relevant in the market and be competitive?
The ESR says that Singapore shouldn't slow down AI adoption. In fact, there is an emphasis on that, and we shouldn't slow it down just to preserve jobs. And I think the general sentiment is that while we understand that it's economically necessary, it could come off as harsh for these workers where their livelihoods are affected. So, in your opinion, how should Singapore balance out these economic benefits as well as job security for these workers?
In this whole disruption and this whole transition, you find that over time, the countries, the industries, and the sectors that are better able to incorporate AI to augment their workers to do well will be the ones that come out tops. And the countries that don't will end up seeing businesses, industries moving out of their countries into more competitive countries. If we were to just protect jobs in the short term, you'll find that we'll be doing our workers a disservice in the long term. Because in the long term, if we're not competitive, then those things will move out of Singapore. And therefore, our approach is one, let's protect every worker, but let's also evolve the jobs as fast as we can so that as a whole, we continue to be an attractive, competitive place for companies, for industries to come and take root, because that ultimately is going to be what provides good jobs, not just today, but tomorrow for all our workers.
If you could paint a picture for us, right, what would a successful AI-augmented worker look like to you 5 years from now?
I think that's a mightily difficult question to answer, but an AI-augmented worker that is doing well 5 years from now will be somebody who is able to allow AI to do the dull, the repetitive, and the boring work, right? Because that doesn't require human intuition or critical thinking. Allow it to do that, and that is best able to harness AI into the current business and production process in a way that leads to meaningful business outcomes, and also is able to see new opportunities that can be brought about by using AI, things that we couldn't do before, okay, perhaps because it requires too much time or too much computation effort, but yet with AI you can narrow that, you act the human intuition, and that creates new possibilities.
We hear from the ground that there are graduates having a lot of difficulties. They send out hundreds of applications, they hear like 2 back. And then on the other hand, we hear employers saying that maybe fresh graduates are a bit more selective in what they're looking for nowadays. So, Marcus, I'm curious, what are you hearing from the ground and what is the situation like?
There's an expectation gap naturally, right, between what employers hope to get and what the employees hopes to get. But the expectation gap in this period of time is compounded by the huge difference on what technology can bring about. Our advice to ourselves is, for fresh grads, finding a job that matches your expectation is not useful in this period of time, because when you're out of the job for a year, to me in this AI age, you feel like you're out of job for 2 years. You did not have a chance to join an organization to let you experiment how AI will work in a real workplace. And the advancement of technology will accelerate that difference. So don't get into that situation.
David, if I may, I think a lot of people would like to hear from you, or your thoughts about, this expectation gap between fresh graduates and employers.
We do have established yardsticks, but those might not be the most important, right, at this current point in time. Things like, is there a structured career pathway? I mean, it's important, but is it as important as before? There's this thing about whether or not our Singaporeans are hungry, are willing. I don't believe for a second that our Singaporeans are not hungry and willing, right? I believe our young people are very competitive, they are very willing. And I think there are enough of them who are willing to do things differently, to do things that require a little bit more of themselves. And I think perhaps this is where we can all adopt that more entrepreneurial mindset, okay? And it's a lot more about what can I learn from this job opportunity, what skills can I pick up, right? How can I become a better version of myself? So,
final question to the both of you. If there is one thing that you think Singapore must get right in the next 5 years when it comes to this economic transition, what do you think it must be?
What we need to do is just being pragmatic. It doesn't work, don't be afraid to call out. Don't second guess and say, oh, you're trying to take my part. Who wants to take a part? You fail, I fail. We just need to execute. Pragmatism with the trust that we have for 60 years, I don't see why we can't do it. The only reason is ourselves. It's not anyone else.
Well, for me, I think it is this very strong relationship that we already have between the government, the businesses, the unions, and the workers. I think that is a unique strength that we've had that has brought us so far over the last 60 years. And it's that one thing that we continue to need to have operating well, because the more we are able to have that sense of community, those relationships, and that trust between us, okay, to be able to candidly share observations and conversations about things that are working, things that are not working, and for us to make those changes, I think the more we'll be able to ride out this transition well.